Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ruins. Now, today we'll be going over Magic the Gathering Top 10 Herald. And now, at number 10, we have Herald of Sarah from Urza Saga. It's a rare going for a whopping almost $9, and that is only because it is on the reserve list. This amazing card, which I personally love, it costs 4 mana for a 3/4 flying, but it does have Echo, so that means you have to pay it for the next turn or it dies. Attacking does not cause it to tap. Back in the day, this was very impressive. Obviously, nowadays, this is a complete garbage card. But still, I like it. So let's move on to number 9. We have Herald of Leshrac from being Coldsnap or Mystery Booster. It's a rare going just for $1.75 at the current time of this video. It costs 7 mana for this 2 flyer. But it does have a cumulative upkeep, gain control of a land you don't control. So that's very impressive because that's something you would very typically see in the Magic world. And it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, but don't own. When it leaves play, each player gains control of each land he or she owns that you control. So otherwise, this is just a very unique and interesting card. I would actually personally, I think I might make a deck out of it. But the reason why it's at number 9 is it's just not worth it. So let's move on to number 8. Next we have is Donald, Herald of Wings. Commander Vow Commander, being mythic with an average price of 44 cents. And just to let you know, I just did Heralds. I did not do anything like Herald's Horn or anything. I just wanted to do creatures. So that being said, this is a 4 for a 3/3. It says whenever you cast a non-legendary creature spell with flying, you may copy it, except that its copying is a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types. Do this only one turn. So it's the reason why it's here as well, because for 4 for a 3/3 and what it does, I don't think it's that very impressive. And these spirits, they don't even have flying. So let's just move on to number 7, which is Yiva, Nature's Herald from Magic 2013, or Dual Decks, Elves versus Inventors. It's a rare going for an average price of $1.51 on the market. This one costs 4 for a 4/4 with Flash. You may cast green creature cards as though they had Flash. And as you guys know, I'm a fan of that Flash, so this card being green, it's not even blue. This is just incredible. I don't know what else to say. So let's move on to number 6. We have Herald of the Secret Streams from Ixalan. It's a rare with an average price of just over $4. Costs 4 mana for this 2/3, and it says creatures you control get +1/+1 counters on them that cannot be blocked. Honestly, I think the counter thing is you really have to build a deck all around that. And on top of that, it costs 4 mana. So this is why it's at number 6, is because I'm not really impressed with it. Some people might be, but it's a Merfolk Warrior. So if you're making a Merfolk deck, this is also not useless. But when it comes to Heralds, I think this is pretty good. So let's move halfway down our list to number 5. We have Herald of the Host from Commander Anthology Volume 2 or Commander 2015. And though it's an uncommon, I feel like this is more of a rare than anything else. It costs only $2.76 at the time of this video. It costs 5 mana for a 4/4 Flying Vigilance. But the reason on top of that, it does have Mirrored, so that's why it's here halfway down our list. And this card is actually quite playable. So let's move on to number 4. Which we have is Herald of Anguish. It's from Aether Revolt. It's kind of funny. I don't think I've ever said Aether Revolt in a top 10 video. But nonetheless, it is a mythic with an average price of $2.66 on the time of this video. This 7 mana casting cost gives you a 5/5 flyer, but at the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card. Well, that's really cool with the creature. And it does have Improvise, and then sacrifice an artifact. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. And, well, it doesn't have tapping, so it just keeps going on and on if you want. So let's move on to number 3. We have Herald of War from Midnight Hunt Commander or Avacyn Restored. It's a rare with just under $2. This one costs 5 mana for a 3/3 with seems like any type of Herald Angel. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So that's very cool. And angel spells and human spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on it. Well, there's a deck in itself just based on that alone. And that's a really cool ability. This is why it's at number 3, because it has all these things. Once it's in play, it can do so much. So let's move on to number 2. we have Herald of the Pantheon from Magic Origins or Commander 2018, with it being rare with an average price of $3.22 on the market. So this one's very cool. It's at number 2 is because of its low casting cost, which is 2 for a 2/2. And then it says enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life. So this is very impressive. You can really play around with this deck because there's so many cards that get pumped when you gain life, especially with the green-white combination. This card is very playable in the real world. So let's move on to number 1. And while at number 1 you may not agree with this choice from Gaea's Herald, it's from various sets, rare with an average price of $2.35. Costs 2 mana for this 1/1. It is an elf, and it's not legendary. So I did factor that in for being number 1. And I am opposed of countering. I hate that so much. So with this card being at number 1 is because of that. It says creature spells can't be countered by spells or abilities. So to me, this is number 1 over burn minus killing creatures. If stopping counters just destroys blue. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the top 10, and I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.